Hey, Michael, what do you got for us tonight?
I got for you this. Who is to blame for man's fall? Is it Eve who focused in, who loved herself more than God, or was tricked, or was it Adam who, in Adam, all died, and he blamed the wife, who blamed the serpent. The woman that you put here, she was the one that got me into sin.
Okay, I hear you. Well, I'm not exactly sure what the answer will do for us, because at the end of the day, we are still all living in a fallen world, and you've named all of the culprits. You've named all of the causes, and we have the fall of Satan, we have the temptation of Eve, the fall of Eve and Adam. So you look in Genesis chapter 3, and what do you find? Both Adam and Eve, they play roles in this historic event, the fall of humanity. But it's all initiated by Satan. So if you're looking for one person to blame and point the finger at, that's going to be Satan in his pride, and the fall of Satan then leading to the temptation of Adam and Eve. And I know you kind of described what the fault was for Eve and for Adam, but at the end of the day, what they both had in common is that they were chasing after self-improvement. And I think a lot of Christians today miss that. We imagine Satan is a horned devil that is just sort of looking like somebody from the cartoons when they draw devils. And he comes down into the garden and he invites the first two humans, hey, do you guys want to be bad? Do you guys want to do some bad stuff? Well, how about you eat of that fruit, and then you can start all the bad business. Well, that's not really what happens. That's not the story of Genesis chapter 3. What we see, in fact, is the temptation is a religious temptation. The temptation is a moral temptation or an ethical temptation. It is a temptation to improve themselves. In the day you eat of this, you will be like God. And what does that mean? Well, specifically, you're going to know good from evil, and therefore you can do more good and less evil. And look at you. You're just going to get better and better. You're going to be more and more like God. Now, I would say that there are people today, Christians included, that many times are suckers for the same sales pitch. The sales pitch of self-improvement. That if I eat of the tree of religion, that if I eat of the tree of morality and ethics, that I can improve myself, make myself better by understanding what is right and what is wrong, and then doing more of what is right and less of what is wrong. And you know what? The average Joe or Jane on the street, that's what they think Christianity is. They think Christianity is about trying to do right, trying to be a good person. We'll do less evil, and we'll do more good, and slowly we'll get more like God. Well, a newsflash, that is not Christianity, and that is not the gospel. Let's go back to that garden one more time, to Genesis 3, because not only did you have the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, but you had the tree of life, another tree, the tree of life. And so I want you to imagine, it's kind of like you got a guy, maybe a Pharisee, and he's hanging on to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He's hanging on tight to that good branch, and he's looking up to heaven, and he's praying to God, and he's saying, thank you, Lord, that I am not like that guy. I am not like that guy who's hanging on to the bad branch. Why not? Because I'm over here on the good branch. And God looks down at him and says, well, yeah, but you're on the wrong tree. You're on the wrong tree. It doesn't matter if you're on the good branch or the evil branch. If you're on the wrong tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, then you're still trying to engage in self-improvement and religiosity and morality and ethics to try to do more good and do less evil and become more like God. And that was the first sin. So the first sin was not Satan showing up with a pitchfork and horns on his head and saying, "Hey Adam, hey Eve, how about we go out and steal some hubcaps? How about we go out and party tonight?" No, the deception was a deception of self-improvement. And the sin was, hey, they're already perfect. They're already innocent and perfect and walking with God. And then the first sin is to believe that they need something else, to believe that they're not complete, to believe that they need to go grab something new, some sort of knowledge of morality and ethics in order to improve themselves. That was the first sin. And so you can see that that sort of thing is still rampant today. In religious circles, honestly, candidly, there are many empty suits on Sunday. There are many empty suits on Sunday, and some of them are on stage. And what I mean by that is when all we hear is 5 ways to be a better person, 10 principles to be a better Christian, 3 ways to be a better wife or husband, 6 steps to get closer to God. When that's all we hear, instead of hearing about what Jesus did, then we're hearing from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil instead of listening to the tree of life, the message of life, the gospel of life. Jesus said, "I've come that you might have life." And so there is a world of difference between the religion of self-improvement and understanding the finished work of Christ. When you and I understand the finished work of Christ, you know where it leaves us? We're no longer suckers for the sales pitch of self-improvement. Why? Because we start to believe, Colossians chapter 2, that we are complete in Him, that we are rooted and grounded in Him. Sound familiar? The tree of life, rooted, grounded in Him, complete, not needing more. And so that was the first sin. The first sin was unbelief. Unbelief in the sufficiency of what God had already provided them. Michael, thanks for your question. Reach out again anytime. Great to hear from you.